So in today's video, I've got two Toshiba 5.25 inch floppy disk drives that I bought off the good old eBay just recently for a fairly decent price. And they're both these Toshiba ND-0802GRs. This is one that I've already taken out and haven't tested yet, but just 3D printed a little lever here because they didn't have the levers on them. That was the only thing missing. So, and they've been claimed to be tested by the computer recycler, so we'll see how that holds up when I test them myself. So again, this is one I've already unboxed and we'll test in a little bit. So let's look at the second one here and get this one out of its packaging. So there's our second one. Again, the same model number and everything. As you see, this is missing its lever. So we'll show putting one of those on. Otherwise, it's pretty much identical. Now these do have a lock mechanism, so you can't engage the disc without the disc being present. And it has a spring-loaded ejection mechanism as part of that as well. There, drive motor, there's our head stepper. Let's see, I guess that was a tag to indicate when it was tested or acquired. I'll just pull that off. So, first order of business, put a lever on here. So I've got my Toshiba 5.25 drive here, and I have one of the 3D lever prints that I made, and I've already drilled a hole roughly approximate to the diameter of the shaft there. But what we need to do now is we need to heat up this ABS plastic here so that we can press fit it on, and then it'll cool down and provide a really good connection. Get this heat going. See where our heat is. We're just going to gently heat this up. And usually the odor will be the sign when this is at the right temperature. And we're going to make sure we get it lined up correctly. Okay, it's getting there. Let's see if we can press it on. Just like that. Pretty simple. And of course, there's a smaller diameter part that actually goes just inside the front bezel here so that it lines up. And you always want to have it a little up when you put it in, because you want it kind of horizontal when you're first trying to put the disc in. So, and then we'll try putting a disc in there, and then that should, yeah, it's a little soft still, so I need to be a little careful on that. Let it harden up. And here's our drive back after completing that work on installing the lever. So we can see that we have it right here. And that seems to work. So, and I have a little 5.25 inch easy format from Mr. Disk back in the day. So we can insert it into the drive. And there's a little click, because again it has a spring-loaded ejection mechanism that also unlocks that and clamps it right down. And I was wondering why on both of these, because I have the other one right here as well, and you can also see it on this, that they put a little bit of what looks like white lithium grease here, because I was wondering why the lever is so easy to engage and disengage the floppy disk. You can see it comes right out with the spring load. Same thing with our other one here. We can insert it into this one. Same thing, click. locks and unlocks. These springs are disc out. So here. So now we need to test these 5 1/4 drives out. Now, as I said, it looks like from the computer recycler that both these drives were tested, and apparently I guess they do work, both with double density and high density 5 1/4 media. Of course, we'll try both to see how that is. The drive we've been working on in the video is working just fine, recognizing that a disk is inserted and is able to be read in a computer, while the drive that I had showed initially that I had worked on is having a problem where it's not detecting the presence of a disk when it's inserted, and it's just spinning the media continuously and never becoming ready to actually be able to access the data. So I looked into it a little bit and suspected that the index sensor on the problematic drive is having some kind of issue, and when I look at it with a trail camera that I have, which is used to seeing infrared light, because when we talk about an index sensor we're talking about an infrared LED, we discover that the problematic drive's index sensor has a dim infrared LED, while the working one has a nice bright one. So what I needed to do there was test out the drive with a good infrared LED from something else to verify that both the photo transistor and the 5-volt logic control for the unit was working correctly. So eventually I needed to replace the index sensor. I tried to correct the problem with what was already on the drive, but the LED was pretty much gone, so it had to be replaced. So I only had some 5mm infrared LEDs from a broken dash cam that I had laying around, and these use 3mm infrared LEDs inside a little housing on there. But the biggest issue with these is that they have the index sensor located within the spindle motor housing. So you have to take both the spindle off, and then you also got to take the windings off, or at least get enough room on them so you can access both the solder joints and to remove the infrared LED. So once I had that, now of course I needed to lift up the windings, and I of course took the screws off and lifted the windings up for that. Unfortunately, I did not pay attention to the very thin wire for the windings, and unfortunately broke a few of the windings from their solder connections to the board, because it's a multi-phase motor, so it was losing some of the phases when I tested it later. But I was able to get the LED out, and you can see that the LED is pretty black, so it was never working, and it was probably on its way out anyway. But the 5mm fit in the original hole that it had there without having to use any kind of extra fitting around it. Soldered the new one in and reassembled it, and then once I realized after the issues going on with the motor phases not being connected, I went back and reconnected those, and now we can see that the drive is now back working again. Hey guys, Brian here. Do me a favor and click that like button down below, and while you're at it, go ahead and click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content when I post it. See you guys in the next one.